Leo, if you felt like something is shifting deep within you lately, like a quiet restlessness you can't name, this isn't your imagination. After September 29th, your life won't look or feel the same. Something big is about to move. This video isn't entertainment. It's not a trend. It's a message, and if you're here, it means you were meant to hear it. You didn't just stumble across this video. You arrived right on time, at the threshold of something sacred. And if Leo energy lives in your sun, moon, or rising sign, you're not just observing the shift. You are the shift. There's a cosmic turning point taking place on September 29th. The full moon in Aries is pressing against the fire in your spirit, asking you to step into a version of yourself that no longer apologizes for being powerful, or radiant, or ready. And I need you to hear this. What happens around this date will change your direction. Not because something dramatic explodes, but because something deep inside finally wakes up. You see, this isn't about fate happening to you. This is about realizing that you've been holding the pen the whole time, you just forgot you could write your own next chapter. And now the universe is reminding you. If you're honest, you've felt the weight lately. Maybe you've carried too much for too long. Maybe you've stayed quiet when you should have spoken, or held on when you should have let go. Maybe you've given people too many chances while putting yourself last. Leo, I say this with all the care in the world, that cycle ends now. You don't owe your light to anyone who's trying to dim it. What's coming after September 29th isn't just a new opportunity. It's a soul-level redirection. It's a clean break with the version of you that lived for approval, applause, or safety. The road ahead may feel unfamiliar at first, but it will be honest, clear, empowering, and deeply yours. Here's the truth. I'm not here to predict your future. I'm here to remind you of your power to create it. That's what eternal mindfulness is all about. This space was built to help you remember what your soul already knows, that you're not lost, you're just remembering. That you're not stuck, you're being recalibrated. That you don't need to be chosen, you already were. And if you're feeling that in your chest right now, even just a little, then I invite you to write this in the comments to ground the energy. I am open to what's coming after September 29th. I trust my path. I choose my power. Writing it out is more than symbolic. It's a spiritual commitment, a way of telling the universe, I'm ready. And when you do that, the universe listens. Always. I want to take a moment to say thank you for being here. For every like, every comment, every time you share your voice or subscribe to this channel, you're helping us keep these soul-level messages flowing. You're part of something real here. Something growing. And Leo, trust me, you're going to want to stay with me until the end of this video, because what the universe is revealing for you is not just powerful, it's personal. It's sacred. And yes, it's finally time. So, what did you do to call this energy into your life today? What decision, what prayer, what silent act of love brought this moment to you? You're here because your soul is ready. Let's begin. Over the past few months, it's likely you've been living in a state of what I can only describe as a kind of holding pattern. You've been carrying a lot on your shoulders: responsibilities, obligations, the constant push to be loved, seen, and validated. And let me tell you, the universe noticed. It's not that the world was waiting for you to catch up, but rather, you were being prepared, slowly and steadily, for something bigger, something you weren't yet ready to accept. There's this quiet space you've been occupying somewhere between what was and what could be. It's like standing at the edge of a cliff, unsure if the ground beneath you will hold. You've been waiting. Waiting for permission, waiting for a sign, waiting for the right time. But what I want you to realize now is that the universe doesn't work on your clock. Time doesn't wait for anyone, not even for the most patient of souls. And right now, after September 29th, time will no longer hold you back. It will push you forward. I know it may seem hard to believe that there's anything more waiting for you on the other side of this threshold, especially when everything has felt like a battle. The demands, the constant obligations, the unspoken expectations sit all weighed heavily on you. But here's the thing, you were never meant to stay in that place forever. That period of struggle, the feeling of being stuck in a never-ending cycle, was not your final destination. It was the preparation. It was the shaping of your soul. As you stand now, in front of this metaphorical door that's just about to open for you, you have a choice to make. The old wounds, the hurt that's been dragging you down, it's time to leave that behind. The same way a snake sheds its skin to grow, you now have the opportunity to shed what's been weighing you down, both mentally and emotionally. The question is, are you ready to step through this new door? Are you ready to claim your power and walk into a life that's waiting for you? Look at everything you've been through, the challenges, the heartbreaks, the moments when you didn't think you could keep going. But you did. You kept going, and that's why you're stronger now. You might not feel it every day, but you've built resilience, and you've learned more about yourself than you realize. The strength that's quietly been accumulating within you is ready to shine through. It's not about the past anymore, it's about where you're going now. Take a moment to reflect on the lessons you've learned. Every setback, every disappointment, has taught you something invaluable. And as hard as it may be to admit, those experiences have molded you into someone who is no longer afraid of what's next. In fact, you're about to step into something that you never thought possible. This is your time to redefine who you are. No more holding back. No more apologizing for being powerful, for being bold, for wanting what's yours. This is where you stop playing small, where you stop second-guessing your worth. You've done the work. Now it's time to claim what's been waiting for you all along. You're standing at the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter that's about to unfold in ways you can't even begin to imagine. And while it might feel uncertain, know this: the universe has already set the stage. Now, all that's left is for you to step forward. And trust me, you've earned it. Every tear, every challenge, every hard decision you've faced, it all matters. All of it was preparing you for this exact moment. You've been waiting for permission, but what I'm here to tell you is that the permission has already been granted. It's time to step into the life that's waiting for you. No more waiting. It's time to rise. After the full moon on September 29th, a new opportunity will appear for you. It might come in many forms, and it could be something you didn't expect. Maybe it's an unexpected message from someone you've lost hope in hearing from. Perhaps a sudden job offer that catches you by surprise, or a creative idea you've dismissed before but now sees the light of day. It could even be a reunion that stirs feelings you thought were long forgotten. What's important here is that this new energy isn't something you should receive from a place of desperation or need. That's how you've received things in the past, right? A bit of hope, a little bit of worry, and a lot of waiting. But this time, it's different. The universe has worked through you, around you, and within you to prepare for this moment. And now it's up to you to receive what's coming from a place of power and self-worth, not from the void of, I need this, but from the certainty of, I deserve this. The energy you've built up isn't just about what you've gone through or what you've learned. It's about who you've become. You've been through the tough times, the silence, the stillness, and now, that inner strength you've been cultivating will come into play. This is the moment where you start to own your energy. The universe doesn't need to force things your way. Now, it's about you saying yes to what's meant for you. The law of attraction doesn't work by asking for things desperately. It doesn't work by pleading, by begging, or by forcing. It works by opening yourself up and allowing things to flow to you. It's not about chasing anything. It's about realizing that the universe, your higher self, your soul, they all know what's coming for you. But it's up to you to meet it halfway. Open your heart, open your mind, and trust that what's coming is a direct result of all the work you've been doing on yourself, even in the quiet moments when you thought nothing was happening. Think about it for a moment, all those times you thought you were alone, or when you felt like you were stuck and spinning your wheels. What if all that time was the universe quietly preparing you? You didn't see it at the time, but each small choice you made, every moment you showed up for yourself, even when you felt tired or discouraged, was aligning you with something greater. And now, as you stand on the edge of this new chapter, it's time to receive what you've been asking for without fear or doubt. It's easy to think that we have to earn every good thing that comes our way, to feel like we're unworthy of the things we want because we haven't suffered enough or sacrificed enough. But that's not how the universe works. You don't have to prove your worth. You're worthy by simply being you, by doing the work to grow, to heal, and to show up for yourself day in and day out. So when this opportunity knocks, whether it's a person, a job, an idea, or a new direction, you'll be ready. But you have to be ready to receive. Don't let fear or doubt stop you from accepting what's coming. Don't second-guess yourself. Trust that the universe is delivering what you need at the perfect time, and it's time for you to trust that you're worthy of it. You've already done the hard part. Now, the work is in allowing the universe to show up for you, and that's where the magic happens. Let yourself be open to receiving, knowing that it's time. You don't need to fight for it. You don't need to chase it. Just say yes. This is where the true power of the law of attraction lies, not in desperation, but in faith, in trusting that the universe has already aligned what you need and it's time for you to claim it. Sometimes, what feels like your world falling apart is actually your soul being set free. I know that's a big statement, and it may not feel comforting when you're in the middle of the storm, but stay with me. You've come this far not because everything has been easy, but because at some level, you've always known there's more to your story. And now, that story is asking to be rewritten. This is where the energy of the Tower card from the tarot shows up, not to punish or destroy, but to realign. In astrology, we often talk about transits that shake things up, especially those involving Pluto, Uranus, or eclipses. But they don't do it just for chaos. They do it because what's false must fall. And here's the part most people don't realize. What's crumbling isn't your life. It's the version of your life that you've outgrown. The version built on assumptions, on fear, on what you thought you had to do or be. And yes, this part can be disorienting. You might find yourself having to walk away from a relationship that no longer sees you, a job that only values your output but never your humanity, or a belief system that kept you small. These endings, though painful, are invitations. Invitations to build something real this time. Something true to who you are now, not who you were when you first settled into those old patterns. In energy work, we talk about the body storing resistance in layers. The ego clings to what is familiar, even when it's toxic, because survival once depended on that familiarity. That's why the most liberating thing you can do is ask yourself honestly, what am I still holding on to just because I'm afraid to let go? The moment you can answer that without flinching is the moment your healing begins, not in theory, but in action. This kind of shedding is sacred. It's a private revolution that doesn't always come with applause or clarity right away. It's like burning a bridge while standing on it, trusting there's land on the other side even if you can't see it yet. And that trust, that deep no-wingies where your new life begins. Let's not pretend it's easy. It takes courage to stop performing for approval. It takes strength to admit that something you once prayed for is now the very thing holding you back. But there is a deeper truth calling to you, and it sounds like your own voice, clearer, calmer, no longer filtered through other people's expectations. Think about it like this: a house that's been damaged at the foundation can't just be patched up. It has to be taken down so it can be rebuilt properly. And you are that house. You deserve to be whole. You deserve to wake up in a life that doesn't feel like you're playing a role in someone else's movie. So if life feels like it's coming undone right now, maybe it's not falling apart. Maybe it's finally falling into place. Maybe the truth you've been avoiding is the key that unlocks everything. Say this out loud. Write it down, anchor it deep inside you. I am not afraid of the truth. I allow what must fall to fall, so that what is real can rise in its place. This isn't a breakdown. This is your breakthrough. You're not being punished. You're being cleared. So let it fall, because what comes after will be nothing short of honest, aligned, and beautifully yours. When life begins to rearrange itself, relationships and finances are often the first places we feel the shift. And for good reason. Those are the areas that most clearly reflect our inner growth, our self-worth, and our unspoken beliefs about what we deserve. As the energy of transformation continues to move through your chart, especially after the full moon on September 29th, you're going to notice things coming up in these two areas that demand your attention, not to punish you, but to realign you. In relationships, this may look like the ending of a connection that once felt like everything. Or, it may be a deep recalibration of a current relationship that's been asking, sometimes quietly, sometimes painfully, for honesty and growth. And if you're single, don't be surprised if someone shows up who doesn't just check the boxes, but who actually mirrors something you've been cultivating inside yourself: emotional depth, presence, spiritual clarity. This isn't about attraction in the usual sense. This is about resonance. You're not looking for a spark anymore. You're looking for a matcha soul that hums at the same frequency as yours. That kind of connection can't be forced. It doesn't come because you chase it. It shows up when you're rooted in your truth, when you're whole enough not to need saving, but open enough to allow true intimacy. You'll recognize it not by fireworks, but by the stillness it brings, the kind that calms your nervous system and makes your body exhale without you realizing it. Financially, there's a similar kind of cleansing taking place. If you've been giving, investing, or showing up for something without seeing the return, this is the time when those energetic debts begin to balance out. The universe doesn't always pay in the form we expect, but it always pays attention. And right now, it's looking to settle up. That overdue payment, that opportunity that's been circling, that project that felt paused, it's all starting to move. But here's the thing, you have to be willing to receive. Energetically, receiving is not passive. It's a skill. It requires you to believe that you're worthy. It requires you to create space not just in your schedule, but in your mindset. Stop hoarding old beliefs like, I have to struggle to succeed, or, it's selfish to want more. Those patterns have served their purpose. Now it's time to write new ones. Ones that sound more like, I am ready for the abundance I've earned, or I welcome what is already mine. There are simple ways to support this shift physically, mentally, and spiritually. Starting your day with intentional breathwork, just 10 minutes of stillness can regulate your nervous system and align your vibration. Working with numerological codes like 888 and 1111 as mantras, or even just writing them in a journal, can act as reminders of your alignment with abundance and new beginnings. Incorporating golden tones or royal purples into your wardrobe can signal your subconscious that you are stepping into your worth. Even something as small as drinking warm lemon water or adding mint to your meals becomes symbolic cleansing, clarifying, gently rewiring the way you relate to your body and your energy. Pay attention to your digestive health this season. The gut is the second brain, and when we're emotionally overloaded or energetically blocked, it often shows up there first. Foods like walnuts, herbs like mint, and simple hydration are not just health tips, they're messages to your body that you're listening, that you're here, and that you care. The truth is, the way we love and the way we earn are always telling a story. The question is, are they telling the story you actually want to live? If not, now is your moment to change the narrative. Not by force, but by awareness. By realignment. And by finally saying, I'm ready to let life support me the way I've supported everyone else. Say it out loud if you need to. Write it down. But whatever you do, don't ignore what's rising. It's not here to shake you. It's here to free you. There comes a point in the healing journey when you realize this isn't just about you anymore. The choices you're making, the patterns you're breaking, the silence you're turning into truth, they echo backward, not just forward. You're not only rewriting your life, Leo. You're reaching into generations that came before you, and offering them the closure they didn't get to have. That's what this phase is about. Maybe you've noticed the dreams lately. Water running in the wrong direction. Old houses you haven't seen in years. Voices that sound familiar but you can't quite place. These aren't just random images. They're symbols, doorways. Your subconscious is pulling you deeper because it knows something. You are the one in your lineage who said yes to the work. You are the one who said, this pain stops with me. And that is no small thing. Astrologically, we know that generational karma often sits in the fourth house, the root, the family, the psychological home. And when transits activate that space, especially when there's a Pluto square, or a South Node transit to your IC, things start to surface. Not just memories or habits, but energies. Unresolved grief. Hidden traumas. Stories you never lived, but carry anyway. It's like your body becomes the archive for your entire bloodline. And now, the vault is unlocking. But this isn't about being burdened. It's about being chosen. Not because you're the strongest or the most spiritual, but because you're the one who's finally willing to look honestly at what's been passed down. The shame. The silence. The sacrifices. The rules that no longer make sense. And you're choosing differently. Consciously. Compassionately. Bravely. Breaking a family pattern doesn't always look heroic. Sometimes it looks like setting boundaries with someone you love. Sometimes it looks like asking for help when you were taught to survive in silence. Sometimes it looks like becoming a different kind of parent, or choosing not to parent at all. Sometimes, it just looks like resting, because generations before you never had that privilege. You don't need to know the entire family history to do this work. Healing doesn't always need a biography. It just needs your willingness to be awarito notice when you're acting from fear that isn't yours, from guilt you didn't create, or from expectations that no longer serve you. And when you do that, you create space. For yourself. For those who came before. And for those who will come after. I know that sounds heavy. But don't underestimate the power of light. Light doesn't scream. It doesn't force. It enters quietly and fills every space that was once dark. That's the role you're playing now. Whether you realize it or not, you are lighting a path that others couldn't. And even if your ancestors couldn't say it in words, trust me, they see you. They honor you. Because you are doing what they could not. If you felt a deep pull lately to change your environment, to declutter your space, to sit in silence more than usual, follow that instinct. It's your system recalibrating. It's your energy clearing room for something new, something clean, something that doesn't carry the weight of everything that came before. Write this somewhere, you'll see it. With gratitude, I choose to release the past of my family. I bring light to what was forgotten. You're not just healing yourself. You're healing the space you come from. You're giving back something sacred to the people who made you possible. And that, Leo, is what makes you powerful beyond measure. Let it begin here. Let it begin now. You're ready. So, my radiant Leo. After everything you've just seen and felt today, I need you to know something sacred. You are not standing at the edge of life anymore, waiting for someone to choose you. You've already been chosen by the universe, by the divine, by the highest version of yourself. What awaits you after September 29th is not just a twist of fate, it's a cosmic rewrite. A sacred shift. A soul agreement coming to life. And the pen is now in your hands. You're not the character in someone else's story. You are the author. And the page is blank except for the golden glow that has started to appear with every decision you now make, from love, from trust, from vision, not fear. Maybe you felt the changes already in your body, in your dreams, in your silence. Maybe you've been noticing signs, angel numbers, names, synchronicities, messages you couldn't explain. Now you know why. This moment was always part of your path. And here's the truth that the world may never tell you, but your soul already knows. You don't need anyone's permission to become powerful. To become abundant. To walk into the love and money and breakthroughs that are already encoded in your destiny. You just need to say yes. So I ask you, will you say yes? Will you trust that after all the closed doors, this is finally the one that opens wide for you? Will you allow yourself to feel worthy of being chosen, not just once, but endlessly. Because after September 29th, your story shifts. Not with drama, but with divine authority. Not with struggle, but with surrender. Not with noise, but with an undeniable inner knowing that says, "This life was always mine." Type it below, Dear Leo. Write it in the comments to anchor this truth. I am stepping into my divine destiny with an open heart. Or if you feel the fire rising within you, say, Leo is ready. And if this message touched you, even in the quietest way, then keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with another soul who might need it, and subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness so you never miss another whisper from the universe. You were never meant to wait forever. You were meant to rise. And now, the rising begins.